Cannabis Common Sense, the show that tells the truth about marijuana and the politics behind its prohibition.
Hello, and welcome to another exciting edition of Cannabis Common Sense. Our show is a production of our nonprofit organization, the Hemp and Cannabis Foundation, and our affiliated political committee, the Campaign for the Restoration and Regulation of Hemp, or CRRH. We have an exciting show for you tonight. We've got some old film clips, some new film clips, and a couple of exciting guests from Oregon Normal. Madeline Martinez is here. Can you tell I just ran to get in the front of the camera? Well, Madeline Martinez is here, as is Russ Belville, the star of KPOJ's Saturday morning talk radio. As is Mr. Tim Pate, who will be providing us some musical accompaniment. We have our Hemp News segment, so stay tuned. This is show number 420. We've done 420 shows since 1996. And if our technical equipment cooperates, we'll show you some real old footage with people who seem a lot younger than they are today. Anyway, stay tuned and let's bring out our infamous dancing cannabis leaves. Well, our first story tonight's from Idaho, just like Russ Belville, who'll be on just a moment. And the city there, Haley, Idaho, is to vote on cannabis this November. In fact, Haley, Idaho will vote this November on a series of local initiatives seeking to liberalize cannabis penalties. 4 separate ballot questions will appear on the November 6th ballot, including language that calls upon the local police to make marijuana law enforcement their lowest law enforcement priority. In recent years, voters in various cities nationwide, including Seattle, Washington, and Columbia, Missouri, and even Missoula, Montana, have enacted similar measures. Separate ballot questions will address the use of medical cannabis and industrial hemp, as well as the regulation of marijuana for personal use, one of my favorite subjects. Last year, the Idaho Supreme Court ruled that citizens can vote on the issue of legalizing marijuana, even if the proposed initiative conflicts with state and federal law. The sponsor of these initiatives, the Liberty Lobby of Idaho, is also seeking to place marijuana law reform questions on the ballots in Ketchum and Sun Valley. Let's see. A new study from DARE says that its effect is minimal. Surprise, surprise. Out of Norman, Oklahoma, Americans' decision whether or not to use marijuana or other illicit drugs evolve over time and are only nominally influenced by criminal prohibition or youth education programs such as DARE, or Drug Abuse Resistance Education. According to survey data published in the journal Substance Abuse and Misuse, investigators at the University of Oklahoma and the University of Central Oklahoma surveyed 51 current and ex-users of marijuana over a 2-year period. The respondents were asked about their decisions to use, continue to use, or cease using cannabis or other illicit substances. All the subjects in the study were described as being employed, enrolled in school, or acting as the head of their households. The subjects said that past exposure to youth drug education programs that focused on abstinence did not dissuade them from trying marijuana. The authors wrote, quote, "While a number of individuals were exposed to drug education and prevention programs in school, the influence of these programs was viewed by respondents as minimal in retrospect. None of these respondents described these programs as having any long-term influence on their abstinence from drug use," end quote. The subjects also said they did not make determinations regarding the health effects or safety of drugs based on their legal or illegal status. The authors wrote, quote, "Individuals who stated they differentiated between legal or illegal drugs when they were younger discuss this distinction predominantly in terms of the availability and acceptability of legal substances versus illegal ones. During the later stages of drug involvement, the distinction between legal and illegal substances became less important basis for differentiating between different types of drugs than the specific benefits and risks of different types of drugs. The investigators reported that most cannabis users initiated their use based on a general curiosity about the drugs rather than because of a desire to achieve a specific drug-related effect. The user's decision to either continue or discontinue their use, particularly as they grew older, were based on incrementally more complex factors such as cost, methods of use, potential health risks, and the length of the high, as well as other so-called life factors such as becoming a parent. The authors concluded their study with this statement, quote, "After individuals begin to experiment with and use legal and illegal drugs, their sources of information about drugs shift from external sources to knowledge that is more directly acquired. These findings provide further support for the need to understand and examine drug use from the perspective of drug users." According to Normal's senior policy analyst Paul Amarta, he said, quote, "It is telling, though hardly surprising, that adult marijuana users share more in common with conventional non-illicit drug-using citizens than they do with the federal government's image of the stereotypical cannabis smoker." That's the end of our hemp news segment tonight. I think we're going to jump over and see Mr. Tim Pate. How are you doing, Tim?
I am doing excellent, Paul. I am.
Good, good. You've got a guest there tonight.
I have a guest here tonight. Yes, Mr. John Cornett has decided to join me, and I think Wolfie's going to also join me. We're going to do a little blues piece for you.
All right. Well, great. Let's go.
We'll get it going.
That was good. You guys know what the blues are about. I can tell that.
Thank you very much, Paul.
I'd like to welcome my guest. How are you doing, Madeline?
Oh, I'm doing great,
Welcome back
Paul.
to the show. You too, Russ.
Welcome back.
How is it going?
It's very, very good, thank you.
Good, good. We have some exciting news to talk about tonight. Maybe we'll get some clips to run here. But we are taking your phone calls, too. If you are watching on the 28th of September, 2007, then you can call us at 503-288-4255. 503-288-4448. That's 503-288-4448. We'll be live here for about another 50 minutes or so. 49, 48, something like that.
Congratulations on show 420.
Thank you. I never knew it'd be around this long, you know.
Yeah.
There's been so many unusual twists and turns. We'll talk a little bit more about those. We have a couple of... This is something you wouldn't have seen back in show 1 through 300 or so. We would not have big buds that we can hold up here on camera and say, look at this, I was growing this. When a thief jumped over the fence and they cut this off prematurely, the dirty dogs. But we caught them, and they jumped the fence. You should see, one of them was hanging by his foot down this 11-foot fence, and I bet when he landed, they didn't have a video of him landing. I had a video of him in the act of falling, though. It was pretty funny to me. But he left this, and they also left a big butcher knife. Now, that's kind of scary. They had a big butcher knife that they left there in the yard. Then I'd like to announce, too, that this week on Monday, while I was in Durango, Colorado, seeing patients in Durango for the very first time, 5 Portland police officers came to our garden. And they asked if they could look inside. And, you know, at first, I always tell people on the show, no, don't let them in, don't let them in. But I knew we were way under our actual limit of numbers. These were Portland officers. So I said, okay, go ahead and look. So the 5 officers went, they looked around, they counted, said we were well under the number of plants that we could have had there. And so they went away and left the garden alone.
That's great. I'm proud of them.
Yeah.
Good for them.
That was a very good thing. We're happy to see that the Portland police respect the voters' will and the law that allows us to have medical marijuana. So.
Well, yes, they're only second to state police in training. They've
Right.
done such an excellent job of training their forces. Of course, they can do a lot better, and we're really pushing for that always.
They said that if we were over, they were only going to take the number of plants we were over.
Yes.
But we were well under that. So
Good.
decided to go with that.
Yeah, I want to wish everybody a happy harvest out there, and be safe. Remember, I like to tell everybody that loose lips cause rips, so don't go bragging.
I like that one. I haven't
Yeah,
heard that. Loose
yeah,
lips
that's a good
cause
one.
rips.
Alicia
That is a good
Williamson coined that phrase.
one. Boy, well, she's good.
She is good.
That's a
She
good
is.
And it also illustrates why it's so important for all the patients and the caregivers out there to understand what the legal limits are and to stay below those, you know, so that you don't have any problems with law enforcement. I think one of the things that makes the Oregon medical marijuana law so great is the fact that we have these distinct, you know, limits and these distinct ways of obeying the law. We're always about, you know, working and being a good law-abiding citizen and being a good member of the community. And the more we show that to people in the public, that we're obeying the laws and we're being good, it's only better goodwill for the whole program.
Exactly.
Well, you know, and it proves that more people than not want to be legal when there's over 17,000 patients now. 2,700 doctors are signing now.
That is phenomenal.
I mean, it has just grown beyond anything. I was
There's about
number 500.
7,000 doctors, so we're up to about a third of them have signed this, or maybe a little bit more than a
Yeah.
third now.
Oh, yeah. And it's just amazing how we're growing. And actually, we had our biggest growth spurt in August. We did the program itself took in $123,000 in August, and we were being consistent. We were bringing in 98,000 every month, and now we've exceeded that. So it's pretty exciting that people are just applying. I mean, just everywhere.
So, Madeline, I know you're on what's the ACMM? What does that stand for?
The Advisory Committee on Medical Marijuana.
And that's a state committee with how many members?
11.
11. And so you had a meeting just last week, and how did that go?
Yeah, we did. It went really well. We got that great budget report. We're doing really well, exceeding 200 and, you know, I'm not going to quote it exactly, I'm sure, because I don't have the budget in front of me, $1,000. I mean, $200 and some $1,000. That's how well we're doing. And our program just keeps growing, and I just want to let everyone know that we finally have, I've been lobbying since before probably the beginning of the program, since its implementation, for some kind of a handbook. Oregon Normal put one out in 2002,
Right.
remember?
Yeah, I do.
The
It's nicely
Medical Cannabis Patients Handbook. And we finally got it approved through the ACMM, and DHS is going to start printing it up, hopefully in January, and everybody who gets their card in the mail will be receiving a patient handbook, like an owner's manual for the card.
That's
you know,
great.
finally.
Yeah.
I know, it's so exciting. It really is exciting, and I'm so glad that it'll be on the website, and we'll have them at the clinics, you know, and we'll be able to make sure that every patient has the law in their back pocket, and you can show it to officers. I heard recently, excuse me, Paul, for taking this time to say this, but I heard recently that a patient was stopped by police, and they took half a pound of hash, said it was illegal.
Oh,
and
the law says that you can have that.
It's legal. It's perfectly legal.
Right. Well, that's a shame. But
well, it is
we've got to keep trying to educate those officers about this. So.
We will.
Was that in, what county was that in? Do you know?
In Washington, of course.
Washington.
Again.
Washington County, not state.
Washington County, correct. Correct. And it is very concerning, and we do need them to learn, you know, do some in-service training, perhaps, about Oregon Medical Marijuana Act itself. You know, they need to take a course in 101 and learn the laws, because it's not acceptable to go from one jurisdiction to the next thinking you're leaving Multnomah County with the accurate amount, you're well under your limit, and then to be stopped and it to be taken away from you. And then once they have it, it's very seldom. Brian Michaels has won a couple of cases where they have to give it back. Great attorney, Brian Michaels. Yeah, he's on the ACMM as well.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
How long has he been on?
He's been on for a few months now.
Good.
Very exciting. Yeah, it's wonderful to have him on. He's a great asset to us. And the Department of Justice also sends their representative, the Assistant Attorney General, Shannon O'Fallon, to our meetings, which is really exciting to sit.
She didn't have the intimidators from the DEA there this past time.
We did have one gentleman. Well, he was, but he was there very briefly. Yeah, I think they've kind of lost their interest.
We can,
you know, because we're winning in the court of public opinion, and they don't like that at all.
No, they don't.
They don't like it.
You know, let them go bust junkies or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you're out there and you're watching on Friday night, the 28th of September, you can call us at 503-288-4448. That's 503-288-4448. And Madeline, I know we've been talking about this privately. We are actually wanting to announce this is show 420.
Okay.
And many years ago, well, a couple years ago anyway, I said that by show 420 we would have something done positively to legalize marijuana. And you know, we've got medical marijuana, but we had that then. And you know, for many years I've been an advocate for ending adult marijuana prohibition.
Yes.
In fact, this television show started back in 1996 as a promotion for our Oregon Cannabis Tax Act, which we tried to put on the ballot, but failed to. In fact, Paul Loney, who's now the legal counsel for Oregon NORML, was a host on the show and one of the organizers on that. So I'm happy to announce this evening that we are preparing to do polling on the Oregon Cannabis Tax Act again, and that we're going to look at what changes could be made to make it more successful in that polling. What the Oregon Cannabis Tax Act will do is pretty much the same that it's been for a long, long time. So we're going to turn back the clock now and go back, way back to 1996 and look at cannabis common sense. Here it is. Oh, we're back. We haven't gone back in time. We're still in 2007. You know, I think what happened there is they had the little frame there, and they were going to run the 10 seconds of black, and they forgot. Oh, we cued to the 10 seconds of black. We didn't cue to the actual start of the show. But here we go. One more time.
Videotape live at the studios of City Video at the Rage nightclub. It is time for Cannabis Common Sense, the show that tells you the truth about marijuana and the politics behind its prohibition. And now here's the host of your show, Paul Stanford and Paul Loney.
Hello, and welcome to another exciting edition of Cannabis Common Sense. I am Paul Stanford, and beside me here is our attorney, treasurer, and the grand poobah,
Paul Loney.
Yes. We are with a political committee here in Oregon, the Campaign for the Restoration and Regulation of Hemp. We are circulating a petition, the Oregon Cannabis Tax Act, this right here. The Oregon Cannabis Tax Act will regulate the sale of marijuana to adults through Oregon state liquor stores and tax it, raising hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue for our state's coffers. It will also allow medical patients with medical need to obtain untaxed marijuana through the pharmacies where they will receive it at cost. It will also allow Oregon farmers to cultivate hemp with no license. Hemp for fiber, protein, and oil, and other industrial purposes. And it will license farmers to produce the drug and sell it through the state liquor stores. So that, in a nutshell, is the Oregon Cannabis Tax Act.
And that's a big nutshell, Paul.
It is. It's a big nutshell, and we need your help. I'll just say it right here at the beginning. I'll say it a few more times, too, as you probably know. We need your help to put this important issue on the ballot. Give us a call at 235-4606. That's 235-4606. We're standing by, ready to take your phone calls 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Friday. And we're there a lot of other times, too. But we have a huge voice message system that will take over 100 calls. So call us and let us send you this petition. Or if you want to come by and help us in any other way, believe us, we need your help. 235-4606.
Yeah, and the reason it is such a big nutshell, because it is an all-encompassing thing, because we're saying this is the truth about marijuana, and once you know the truth, you'll want to restore hemp to its rightful place. Hence the name of our committee, Campaign for the Restoration and Regulation of Hemp. Because people often ask us, well, why don't you just pick one of the aspects of hemp, the medicinal aspect or the industrial aspect or the purely recreational aspect.
And just work on that.
Yeah, and it's just like, well, no, because that's not the truth. The truth is that it's an all-encompassing plant, and it needs to have all parts of it set free. And that's why we're here, is to help get this on the ballot. It's like too often we're stuck with these police officers out there that, not all police officers, probably a majority of them are on our side, but some of them, and those that want to stay with the marijuana task force, the drug and device unit, year after year after year, they're the ones that get gung-ho and bust people, when there's no real crime, committed other than a little growing, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
All right. There we were.
That is great. I love it.
Who's that guy with the dark beard?
I think our hair's a little bit whiter than it was back then. I think not just his, but mine is starting to go that way too.
Yeah, well,
if my beard, I think we have a white beard. Something like that.
That was really, really great to see.
So we're hoping to get this off the ground again, and we're going to do some polling to see if that model will stand up and whether we can win an election. And if that model doesn't win an election, we want to ask people if there's something we could change that would make it more likely to win. And then if it would win with some changes and modifications, we'll definitely try that. So we're looking probably not for 2008. Unless manna drops from heaven and there's $1 million available to do this thing, we're probably looking at 2010. So if you're out there, just stay tuned. We'll have more information about that on the shows in the future. But I wanted to make that announcement, that we're out there preparing to end adult marijuana prohibition and restore industrial hemp. We have our phone call. First one. Hello, caller. You're on the show. Hello, caller. Oh, the caller's not there.
Well, that happens sometimes.
Russ, you're now a radio star. You won the national thing from, what was it, Jones Radio Network?
It was the Center for American Progress put together a competition called The Search for the Next Great Progressive Talk Radio Star. It was kind of like Star Search or American Idol or something like that. And on a fluke, I entered the contest, and, well, the fluke happened. I ended up winning it. So my show is on every Saturday morning. So tomorrow morning, get up at 9. It's on 9 to 11. 9 to 11 on AM 620 KPOJ right here in Portland. And so the more people tune in, the better. One of the things about breaking into the commercial radio here is that, you do this show. This is your 420th show. We have a show that we produce. And everybody, I don't know if the people know watching out there, but everybody doing this is doing it out of volunteer. They're doing it absolutely for free because we believe in this issue. And also because it's darn hard to break our issue into the mainstream media.
That's right.
Very, very hard. So as I started this radio show, they said, hey, we won't censor you. You'll tell you what you could say. But every time I got close to the marijuana issue, I kind of got these not so subtle hints that maybe I shouldn't go there. So I'd like to keep going there. I'd like to keep the show on the air and keep doing that. So the more ratings, the more support, the more callers, the more likely they're going to want to keep us on commercial radio.
Great. And so that's on. And if you're outside, this show is not only, I think, the most popular cable access show in Portland, but we know now that it is the most popular cable access show in Denver, Colorado, too.
Excellent.
Great.
So, yeah, they vote on it at dproduction.org.
Excellent. Well, the folks that are outside, if you're watching this from outside the Portland area, you can also listen online at 620kpoj.com. They've got a live radio stream there.
Right,
so
exactly. That's what I wanted you to mention. Very good. Thanks. I guess we have a caller. Let's try this again. Hello, caller. You're on the show.
Hey, how you doing?
Real well. How are you?
I had a question, and that is, I saw that case last summer of that guy that had the tarp on his fence, and I guess he had medical marijuana cards there, but it was in public view to some extent. I saw the thing in the metro section, but all I saw was his corn, and I was wondering, what that in public view thing is.
Well, public view means you can see it from somewhere off of your property. They can't actually go on your property and then move around and see it. So if somewhere off of your property, and you haven't taken any effort to try to hide it, then it would be in public view, and that's not permitted.
Well, I saw in that picture that they had that big tarp on the thing, and I wondered whatever happened to that guy. And I know a lot of people are growing in their backyards right now. And I guess the other part of that I was wondering about is, are they allowed to take everything then? Or let's say out of the 18 or 12 plants or whatever amount of plants they have back there, are they only allowed to take the ones that are in public view?
I haven't heard of anyone who's definitely had it taken just based on the public view. Have you? I know you wanted to say something a second ago.
Well, I wanted to say that my understanding of public view when I've been at DHS meetings, OMMP, the advisory committee, has always been if someone can get binoculars and look onto your property and see it, then it's in public view. And that's a big concern because all of us that grow outside, that would be possible from any number of vantage points. And so I think that if you make an exerted effort to enclose your area, camouflage your medicine so that, because I think the biggest fear that we face aside from federal prosecution is being ripped off. Because that's what's going on so much.
Right now, it's the worst time of year. We're right here at harvest season, and the thieves are out.
But I would like to encourage people, if you get ripped off, call the police.
Yeah.
Call the police and do a report on it, because that really helps us, and that helps the police to know that we are in compliance.
What I've seen, too, is when these thieves, you don't have any entrance test to be a thief. You're generally, thieves are not your brightest people,
right.
So what you see is they grab these plants and they start running, and the plants invariably leave a little trail of leaves behind them, like Hansel and Gretel. You just follow that trail of leaves, and there you have it, right to the stupid thief. And I recommend you do try to get him arrested. We got one guy to jump the fence and everything, and we chased him, but managed to get away.
Yeah, and also I'd like to let people know that a lot of people that have been ripped off, and I'm not suggesting that you do this because I'm not an attorney, so I can't give you legal advice, but they have submitted reports of the theft to their insurance companies.
Yeah.
And some insurance companies have actually paid for it.
Yeah, I've heard of at least a dozen cases like that.
Exactly, and they were paid per plant.
Yeah.
What it would be, and the only price we have to go on is the black market, unfortunately, and that's pretty high. So,
I've advised a number of different insurance companies on how to value that.
Exactly.
And people have received benefits from that, thank goodness. I guess we have another time capsule film clip that we're going to run right now, and we'll be back in just a second to discuss it. So enjoy. I think it's coming. It's cable access, folks.
Right.
Hey, Paul, are you still there?
Communities like Sunny Isles or any of the places like it can take whatever shape they want. Doesn't mean they'll always do things the way I would like. I wouldn't vote for the death penalty, but 38 American states have. That's the way democracy works. You win some, you lose some. And that's why I was heading to Portland, Oregon, the place where democracy is a virtual sport. I'd volunteered to do a stint gathering signatures for what they call a citizens' initiative. In Oregon, you can get any issue you like put to a vote of the entire state, just so long as you get enough signatures on your petition. I'd come to help get a vote on the legalization of cannabis put on the ballot paper. First, I had to find the inhaler-in-chief, Paul Stanford.
I'm looking for someone called Paul. That would be Paul right there. Paul Stanford. Yes. Hello, I'm Jonathan Friedland.
Hi, nice to meet you, Jonathan.
How are you doing?
Very well.
Very good.
Well, welcome.
But here you are, you're gathering signatures already. You started without me.
Well, you know, we've been at it for a few months now, so we need 66,748 signatures, good signatures, to qualify our initiative for a vote.
And even if we get all the signatures, that doesn't mean it becomes law, right? It just gets on the ballot and then people have another chance to vote.
Exactly. Once we make the ballot, then the whole state votes on it.
Up or down?
November 7th, the year 2000. That's the ballot that we're shooting for.
All right, now I need to get some petitions from you
Exactly.
and sign some.
So what I'm going to do
Yeah.
is I'm going to give that to you. I'll give you this clipboard.
Oh, okay, I'm ready
There's
to go.
that one. You want me to go with you and kind of train you?
No, I think I'm going to plunge in. On my
Okay.
own. I'm gonna
Good
dare.
luck.
I'm going to dare to do this. Okay, thank you very much, Paul.
Thank you.
Let's try and hitch. Excuse me, are you registered to vote here?
You're registered to vote?
Would you sign my petition? It's a petition to permit the sale of marijuana to adults through state liquor stores. We want that on the ballot.
I'll sign it.
Are you registered to vote here? Okay, you're in Washington County?
Yes.
Okay, well then sign away. So isn't this the sort of thing that politicians should deal with rather than referendums and petitions and all that?
No. This is about us. This is our country. We should vote for it. We make the decisions, not the politicians. They're just to help along. It's not their country. It's our country.
So you mean what, you're in charge and they
They work for us. Yeah, well, that's the way it should be.
Has this happened to you before? Have people asked you to put signatures for citizens' initiatives before?
Absolutely.
But why are you motivated to do that when this is something that politicians are paid good money to do themselves to make these kind of decisions?
They don't get it done. They don't get it done unless the public is involved. Politicians are paid by us, and so we have to lead them.
You have to lead them. Oh, they're not leaders then. They should follow you.
We've elected them. They should lead under us.
Hiya. Are you registered to vote here in Oregon?
As a matter of fact, I've just moved here from New York.
Now, you don't have so many of these in New York, but what do you think of the whole idea of having these ballots and referendums for voters to decide on things?
Oh, I think it's a wonderful idea.
Go on, why?
Very democratic.
Why?
Well, because I think people should be making choices inside our government. We are the government. And I'm going to sign it right now.
Where to get those?
So, Paul, this is my day's handiwork. I think I did quite well.
Yeah. All right.
So
great.
what happens now? I would give you these. I give you these signatures.
Right, and then if the people vote for it, it becomes law.
And if people don't vote for it, how would you feel about it then?
Well, you know, I'd be a little disappointed, but I'm going to keep going.
You're happy to leave it up to the people.
Yeah, well, it's better than any other system I've seen. So I trust the people more than I trust our politicians on it.
All right. Well, look, Paul, thank you. I enjoyed my afternoon.
Thank you. Now, thank you very
See
much.
you. Cheerio.
Bye-bye.
It was time to meet the man they call the king of the Citizens Initiative, Bill.
All right. So that is an excerpt from a 1997 show that played in Great Britain on the BBC called Talking About a Revolution. And the first part was about politics in the United States, and the second hour of the show was about doing away with the monarchy and having a real constitutional government in Great Britain. And that's what that gentleman was an advocate of emulating American democracy and doing away with the monarchy in the United States. So it was a program that aired all across Great Britain. We were really happy to have a BBC reporter come and gather some signatures on our unfortunately unsuccessful initiative. But
well, this is the laboratory. This is the laboratory of change and reform, the West Coast. I mean, this is where it's happening.
Exactly.
We are pioneers.
It was really nice to have him come here, and that was a pretty popular thing back in the day, a decade ago.
Yeah.
And I have aged a little bit since then, but haven't we all?
Yes, we certainly have.
So if you're out there and you have a question for us tonight for our 420th show on the 28th of September 2007, then call us at 503-288-4448. I guess we have a caller. Hello, caller. You're on the show. Uh-oh. Well, so it goes.
Well, I was
Live
thinking-
TV, folks.
As far as restarting the Oregon Cannabis Tax Act, I think this is the perfect time in the next couple of years to get it started. Now that we've had medical marijuana in California for 10 years and 11 years now, and then in Oregon for almost 9, I think the public is starting to get it, that they've seen that the sky hasn't fallen, that there's people out there legally using marijuana and nothing bad happened. We didn't have, the children's use, teenage use of marijuana has gone down in California since they've had Prop 215 out there. So I think the people are starting to get it. The wall we still need to break through is that wall of morality. A lot of people think that if we legalize marijuana, we are giving the society's approval of an immoral act. I think more people see the morality of it. Our opponents or the people that don't know very much about marijuana see using it as immoral more than they see it as illegal. Which is why I think a lot of them have the attitude of, yeah, if you're going to smoke, go ahead, but we don't approve of it. And they feel like if we legalize it, we're approving something immoral.
And I see nothing immoral about it.
Absolutely,
You've got
of
a
course
medicine that makes you feel better, it makes you happier, makes the colors brighter,
And I think that's why initiatives like Mason Tvert's work out in Denver with equalizing marijuana and alcohol, which those of us in the know would say they're nowhere close. Marijuana is much better than alcohol.
They got 42% of the vote there in Colorado. I'm happy to say that our organization, the Hemp and Cannabis Foundation, donated $1,000 to that petition drive. They got 42% of the vote. We'd also donated $500 to the Nevada drive that MPP financed the campaign to legalize the sale of marijuana there. And MPP says they're going to put that on the ballot again for 2010 in Nevada. And I was just talking to Mason Tvert just this week, as a matter of fact. I came from a whole week in Colorado. We saw patients for the first time in Durango, Colorado on Monday. That's another story. But I'm pretty sure we're going to have not just Nevada and Colorado voting in 2010 on ending adult marijuana prohibition and restoring industrial hemp, but Oregon is going to be there too. And I have a feeling we're going to lead the way.
Oh, yeah.
Guess we have another caller. Hello, caller. You're on the show.
Hi there.
Hi.
I've got a few questions for you guys.
Okay, you called the right time.
My husband has got a ongoing back injury, 5 back surgeries and a fusion.
Oh, my gosh.
He's been on strong narcotics for the past 5-7 years. He's a card holder. They did a random test on him, and it came up positive for
Now, when you say
marijuana.
they, you mean an employer?
No, the doctor did.
And he's under some sort of a pain contract with that physician?
Exactly.
It's pretty common in chronic pain conditions.
And since he came up positive for marijuana, they took the privileges away.
You mean the
For the
prescriptions of all the narcotics? They just cold turkeyed him right then and there, huh?
They gave him, X amount for a month for him to find a new doctor that would allow him to have the medical marijuana and his pain medication.
Right.
Any ideas on where to turn?
Well, there are other pain care clinics here in the state of Oregon, and I would recommend you call our office for a referral on just that issue. I can't tell you off the top of my head and on the air here, but it's a shame that the doctor's torturing you like that.
It is so unfair.
I recommend trying to cut back on those things as much as possible. Taking cannabis orally, activated cannabis, it's been cooked at a low heat to decarboxylate or strip the carbon dioxide molecule off of it. That's what they call activating it, and that's what needs to happen. Taking it orally 3 times a day will help for pain, spasm, seizures, and even glaucoma. So I recommend that he immediately start doing that and trying to wean himself off those as much as possible, and to start searching for another pain care provider. But call our office, and we'll be happy to help. Here in Portland, that number is right there on your screen. It's as it was 11 years ago when this show started. 503-235-4606.
Well, great. You guys keep up the great job you're doing.
Thank you. Really appreciate that.
Have a good night.
Yeah, good luck with your husband's ordeal. It's a shame that there are people out there that misuse the practice of medicine to try to, they addict the patients to this stuff. It's not really appropriate for them to do that, but they don't know the alternatives out there. And so, they should be on those strong narcotics for a long, long period of time, but these people just don't know how to treat chronic pain. And the real solution is what we have here: cannabis and cannabinoids. And
there's a severe undertreatment of pain in the United States. Most of your doctors that are prescribing your OxyContins, Darvocets, Percocets, heavy opioids like that are in fear of the DEA, because the DEA tracks these guys down and says, "Oh, there's no possible way your patient could need that many pills," and so they think that there's some sort of dealer. There's a recent case that was just that Richard Pay, who was just released from prison, who they said his doctor was over-prescribing, but this guy had so many ailments that he had to have that to live.
It was really inspiring that the governor of Florida said, "I'm going to pardon him and let him out of jail today."
Yeah,
complete pardon. His family, and that was, it's good to see there's a new governor in Florida now.
We're winning in the court of public opinion.
Maybe democracy has returned to Florida.
Yeah,
what do you know? Bodes well and we can send it home to the White House too. Anyway, we have another caller. Hello, caller. You're on the show.
Well, hello, folks.
Hello.
Happy 420. I'm really proud of y'all.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
My call relates in a way to the previous caller's comment, and even to what Madeline had brought up about what the board is, I believe it's the board, is doing. And I'm really happy to see that the board is finding a way to take action to help provide information to card holders that they can reference and that they can display to others
let's move forward.
to help support their positions. But along that line, I keep running into a lot of new card holders that they're just lost.
Yeah.
As everyone's aware, the law did not help people provide for themselves really or instruct them. There's no little class, state-sponsored class you can meet at to learn how to begin or any sources.
Yeah.
And I just kind of wondered with the board's attempt to get information in a usable format into hands that could really benefit from it. If anybody else has been thinking how in the world we help these people get started up with their cards, help people find physicians that I love these pain clinics that'll stick you in the back with a needle and have it hurt but not allow you to take marijuana. I can't do anything but laugh at those people. And it is difficult. Is there anything on the burner about that?
Well, one of the things that Oregon Normal is doing is we are going to start in January another Saturday to our regular second Saturday meetings that we have.
Twice a month.
Yeah, we're going to do it twice a month.
Great.
We're going to start doing a fourth Saturday in January, and we're going to have OMMP 101. And so that all the beginning patients can go into this class and find out exactly where to start and take a cutting home. We're going to have the class where you take a cutting and you take that home with you, and we're going to try to figure it all out. We're working on it now, but there's so much of a need out there, and so many patients are being exploited by unscrupulous caregivers and growers, and it's really getting awful. And we'd like to encourage people to start thinking about getting grow-ops going, co-ops, where 4 people can grow together.
Really?
One may not have a space.
Is there any way you can, those 2 pieces of information, is there any way you can disseminate those? Those are really, I think those are extremely important pieces of information to the
Well, we're trying. That's why we're on this television show.
Yeah, that's why we're here.
We're on the internet.
Like on OregonGriefFree.com or IGNC, because I don't think the community at heart realizes those 2 pieces of information are forthcoming. They'd really like to see
Well,
that.
IGotMyCard.com we work really closely with. We recommend that people on the internet go there, and we also, of course, work with THCF. And we figure between all of us, we're this big old tank that can run through and help patients as much as possible to get this information. We also have a talk show that Oregon Normal presents every first and third Sunday at 6 p.m. on Channel 11. And it's really exciting. Russ is hosting
Are they already posted on the site?
Yeah, if you check our website at Oregon Normal, that's ORNORML.
I'm aware of Oregon Normal. I mean on the other sites that I mean, on the other side,
Yeah, well, I know that there is a forum
a lot of
for
the
other organizations on Oregon Green Free site. I know we have a little forum there, and I don't check it all that often, but it's there. So there is some crossover. It's just there's so many different things going on in everybody's life that it's difficult to get everybody singing on the same page.
Yeah, I'm all about this communication thing. It'd be nice to see a coordinating committee for communication on this, if anybody has thought about that.
we always send everyone to IGotMyCard.com, to the THC clinic, and to our meetings, of course, now starting in January, as I said, every second and fourth Saturday at 11 in the afternoon. We try to make it easy for patients to come out. It's easier for them during the day. And I also would like to ask you and have you go to our website and check on the Oregon Medical Cannabis Awards.
Yeah, that's coming up in December.
Yeah,
right?
It's coming up in December on the 15th.
And those are always a lot of fun. One of the most fun days
they are. I never felt those were as patient-oriented, though, as the more medically designated. I don't know about the beauty pageant myself.
Well, it's actually a strain evaluation, and 28 patients participate, and they get 28 grams of medicine to take home with them and to sample and evaluate which works most effectively for their own condition. And they journal this
I'm sure
event.
that's helpful to strain studies, yes.
Excuse me?
We didn't quite hear that here.
I'm sure that's helpful to strain studies, absolutely. It would help if there's documentation, though.
Right.
There's a lot of this going on out there, so I really appreciate the effort you guys are doing. I have been, I'm a frequenter of the sites we discussed, and not so much Oregon Normal because it's not so interactive, and I would hope that there's an announcement soon on those sites about these wonderful, wonderful upcoming efforts. Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah, you can go there and find out all about the OMCA. And as Paul said, it's coming up December the 15th. It's on our website, and we're really asking people, to enter.
I mean about the 101 classes and stuff.
Oh, yeah, we are going to be putting that up.
That'll be twice a month starting in January.
And check out our calendar. Up on our website, we have a calendar. It's also interfaces with Google if you're using Google's calendar. I put up all the events that are happening. Paul's got classes. You guys still have those classes?
We still have classes.
They have their classes at the THC clinic. We've got all the events that happen, all the meetings that happen are all on that calendar. So that would be the first place to check.
Yeah.
Yes, that sounds helpful, too.
Sure.
All right, well, thanks for your phone call.
Thanks, enjoy.
Thanks for getting in here on show 420.
Yeah. I just want to ask everybody that's interested in entering the Oregon Medical Cannabis Awards, we are still accepting strains to be evaluated in our, strain evaluation.
When is the deadline on that? I mean, I know
November
my
10th.
harvest is a little ways off. I should have it cured by November 10th. That's
great. November the 10th is our cutoff point. We need to have an ounce of whatever you're going to have judged. You can enter up to 4 ounces, and they're different prices, but you'll have to go to the website and find out.
Good. We're closing in on time. I just want to show a couple of things here that we have. Just our normal show and tell, or sharing, as they say nowadays.
Sharing is caring.
Sharing is caring. I love that one. Here's Dr. Bronner's soap. Dr. Bronner's. It's really good stuff. It's 18-in-1 hemp, peppermint, pure Castile soap. I don't know if we can get the camera to close in on that. I get these little containers, and I have a big jug. So when we run out of the little containers, we then fill them again from the big jug. Now here's a big jug of little nugs.
Big jug, little nugs.
Jug. And here's a little bit bigger.
I noticed you have the hemp milk there.
I love this stuff. In fact, I got a container of it yesterday in Colorado, too.
Number one testimonial from Tom Hartman, who's a national Air America radio host. I work in the same studio that he works in, and every time I go in, there's a little box of that hemp milk sitting there.
Oh,
that's
really?
all. He's
a hemp milk drinker.
Yeah, he's a hemp milk drinker. Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely.
Well, that's good to know. And then we have this antique bottle here. I'll move it in. This is a chloral bromo compound. It's got extract of cannabis as the number one ingredient, and it's indicated in insomnia, epilepsy, and hysteria. That's what it says right here on the label. Indicated for insomnia, epilepsy, and hysteria. From Schumann Jones Company of Cleveland, Ohio. 1 teaspoonful, repeated as required.
And what they meant by hysteria was menstrual cramps for those.
Yeah, it sounds pretty hysterical to me.
Hysteria, Greek word hysterectomy, same thing.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the 19th century, when they talked about hysteria, they thought women had a problem because they would get PMSy, and so they called it hysteria.
Yeah, they call it PMS because mad cow disease was taken.
That's all.
Yeah, I couldn't have said that one, Madeline. We have another caller, though. Hello, caller. You're on the show.
Hi, Paul.
Hey.
I just wondered. I'm moving out. I'm a card holder right now, and I wondered who needs to be notified as to a change of address.
Now say that one more time. Who? What?
Who needs to be notified about a change of address?
The main if you're moving your card and your garden and everything,
My
you need
garden
to notify
isn't
the
moving.
health department. The medical marijuana program. What is it? Within 30 days at maximum?
Exactly.
But you can actually notify them in advance, too, and say, I'm going to move my garden from this address to that address on this day. Then they'll record that. And then as soon as you've got it moved to the new address, you can say, okay, I'm now at this address. There's a specific form called the change form that you can get from the Oregon Department of Health Medical Marijuana Program Office, and then you just turn that. The law is you have to notify them within 30 days. Now, if you're moving to another state, then you're just have to cancel your Oregon card, and hopefully you're moving to a state where there is medical marijuana, in which case maybe we can help you get a permit in that state too.
No, I'm not moving the garden. I'm just personally moving. As a patient, I'm moving.
Oh, okay.
The garden, as my caregiver, my grower, is staying the same.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Yeah,
just
you
a
just want to
patient.
turn in a
does
change
that
for
still
your own
need to be
personal address with the health department. And again, you'd have to fill out that change form and turn in a copy of your ID and your caregiver's ID one more time.
Okay, now my second question is, my caregiver doesn't quite want his name and face to be known at the Oregon Medical Cannabis Awards. Can I, as a patient, enter in with his strain, so to say?
Yes, you can.
Well, it has to be a grower or a caregiver that enters. If the patient's the grower, that's fine. But you would have a grower card, and that's the card we need to take a picture of that we need to see for ourselves to be covered legally.
And as far as keeping the identity, anonymous, that's not a problem.
Right.
We're not going to broadcast you on TV or radio or the internet unless you specifically want to be known. So, no, your privacy is fine.
We've actually had others win, and we have maintained their anonymity throughout the event.
But, the scoring and all of that on the Oregon Medical Cannabis Awards is completely public. You can go and look at how each judge rated each strain. They're designated by number or letter, and then you can see how the scoring tightened up and who got each different category. Because you have various categories, aroma and taste. I remember those two because, I actually for the first time won them last year.
Yeah, medicinal effect and potency, which are judged get twice the weight because it is a medical cannabis thing. But also the connoisseur categories of aroma, taste, smoothness, and appearance.
Right. The patient can accept the award on behalf of his grower, and that's something that can happen. But we do need to see it. We have to cover ourselves legally, always.
What do I need to do?
Just go to our website, and you can click on to the Oregon Medical Cannabis Awards, and all of the entry forms are there for you. Each person that submits a strain must also fill out a questionnaire asking various questions about how it was raised, what the genetics are.
Indoor, outdoor, hydro, soil, whatever.
All the questions.
And you have a hash category now, too. You're still doing hash
no,
this
we
year?
don't have a hash
Not going to do that
card.
this year.
No, we
Discontinued
had a problem
that.
with not enough people putting in hash. So the only person who put it in was the only person who won. And
that makes sense to me.
It just doesn't work out. It just doesn't work out.
Right.
When we get more interest, we'll do it again, because I was also asked by someone, what about tinctures and what about capsules and all the other things, because there's so much you can do with medibles. We actually recommend to patients to try all three methods.
Mm-hmm.
You might want to use your Volcano a little bit or puff a little bit, and then you may want to take something that you can eat, a medible, and then you may want to do a little bit of a tincture in your tea for the evening, and that should work to help just about anything that you're suffering from or temper your pain, and we can't cure you.
Well, I would just want to, here in our closing moments, make a quick plea to all the folks out there that if you have one of the conditions that qualifies for medical marijuana anywhere here in the western United States, we have doctors who can help. So if you are in the Portland area and you need a physician referral, you can call 503-235-4606. That's 503-235-4606. Up in Seattle, the Seattle number is 206-878-1701. That's 206-878-1701. 1701. If you're watching from Denver, where this show is now the most popular cable access show in Denver, every Saturday night on Channel 57, you can call us at 303-403-9996. That's 303-403-9996. And if you're anywhere outside of those metropolitan areas, whether it be Oregon, Washington, California, Colorado, Hawaii, and coming soon to Nevada, then you can call our toll-free number at 1-800-723-0188. That's 1-800-723-0188. We're just about wrapping up here. Is there anything you'd like to say in closing?
I would like to say that the October meeting, second Saturday meeting, is on the third Saturday, October 20th, at Mount Tabor Theater. And we encourage you to bring cuttings and whatever you'd like to share with the rest of the cannabis community. And also, Keith Stropp will be here for the Oregon Medical Cannabis Awards.
And he's the founder of NORML.
Yes.
Way back in the 70s.
And we'll be at the NORML conference on the third Saturday. Yeah, the 13th of October. You'll be there.
And you want to put in another plug for you? Yeah, I will.
Yeah, absolutely. The radio show is the Russ Belville Show. It's every Saturday morning, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. on AM 620 KPOJ or online at 620kpoj.com. I'm your marijuana voice on the mainstream media. Me and Bill Maher. That's it.
All right. And as I said, we started this show as support for the Oregon Cannabis Tax Act to end adult marijuana prohibition, and we're getting ready to do it again. So stay tuned. We're going to see an end to adult marijuana prohibition in the near future. So keep watching Cannabis Common Sense. Tune in next week for show 421 and help us restore hemp.
Restore hemp.
Hemp, hemp, hooray.
Hemp, hemp, hooray.
All right. Thank you. And Tim, you take it.